everyone, welcome back. My name is Cureton, Senior Journalist for XR Today, and we are bringing you the latest and greatest from the VR, AR, and XR industries. Today we get to speak to Jason McGuigan, Head of Commercial Virtual Reality for Lenovo, and we're going to have a very jam-packed session for today to talk about the VRX, the ThinkReality VRX. So, Jason, it's a pleasure to have you on today, and welcome aboard.
Great to see you, man.
Okay. So yeah, I know you've had quite a bit of an action-packed week this week. Tell us what you're up to this week.
This week we're really dealing with a lot of input from our announce that we did just a few short weeks ago on the ThinkReality VRX, and it's been some great recognition we've gotten for it. We're very excited about our partners, our ISV partners, as well as our internal partners and customer outreach we've gotten just based on the initial announce. It's been a great a great amount of feedback that we've got, and by and large, it's been fantastically positive. So we're very excited about it.
Great to hear. And so now, I guess we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of it, and we're going to talk a little bit about the VRX. So, what inspired Lenovo to create the ThinkReality VRX? I know this has been your brainchild for quite some time, and you've been working very hard at it. Can you tell us a little bit about it, and which clients are best suited for the device?
Sure. This kind of came along from Lenovo's longstanding history of working within the immersive space. We've done quite a few devices. Early days with the Google Daydream platform under the Mirage Solo, as well as our Mirage VRS3, and then we also created one of the Windows mixed reality based devices. I believe it's called the Lenovo Explorer. And we also have our VR classroom platform, but we recognized that there was a big gap in the market for the enterprise training areas and what we consider the enterprise metaverse, giving people the ability to utilize full VR devices, full immersive tech, to bring people on board, to train them, to do hard skill training, soft skill training, and all of the things and the like. And what we really saw was that majority of customers were utilizing retrofitted consumer hardware. And for many enterprises, that just wasn't cutting it. To be able to even sell into an enterprise or to work appropriately with an enterprise IT department, you need to have something that's validated, that's proven to be safe, secure, have the right level of data privacy, and also have that inroad and that connection to understanding how enterprises even work. And that's one of the areas that Lenovo has always specialized in. So we recognize that this gave us a very strong opportunity to step in the market there. When we jumped into that, it was one of those things that we looked at. How do we create something that's going to bring this to market appropriately? And we looked at partnering with various different groups, and we've done some good partnerships in the past. But with this one, we realized that if it was going to hit all those points we wanted to hit, it has to come from Lenovo itself. So we are developing this ourselves. We're actually manufacturing it at Lenovo's LCFC. We have a lot of those aspects that are making this a true Lenovo full product, which is also why it goes and falls into the Think brand. If you're familiar with Lenovo products, the ThinkPad and the ThinkStation, they're some of the top tier products within the enterprise. Many people that work in the enterprise already have company issued ThinkPads and ThinkStations. So it's a well recognized brand associated with it. But even inside of Lenovo, it's more difficult to be considered a Think product. So for this to even be part of a ThinkReality and a Think product, it gives it even a stronger standing within the product echelon within Lenovo, and something we truly believe and stand behind.
Yeah, brilliant words. And I know that for me personally, I've always been a fan of Lenovo. I'm not actually using the ThinkPad right now. Especially that swappable battery saved me quite a few times on trips. So yeah. It's pretty much it's a very stand-up device, and I'm really happy to have it. So yeah, we can talk a little bit more about the VRX. Now, it's got some very interesting specs here. Are you able to tell us a little bit about some of those? What kind of ingredients did you put into this recipe for virtual reality?
Well, we looked at it from the perspective of when you start building a VR device, and when you start looking at what's available from a technology perspective. You have to really be predicting the future to a degree. You can't say this is what's going to work today. You have to be building a device that has a relatively short life cycle because of how quickly the market turns, but you can't be utilizing things that are formulated and stayed in perfect, because it just doesn't exist in our space right now. Everything's iterative and growing. So when we looked at this device, and we started building this out, the top device on market was kind of the Quest 2 and the Pico Neo 2 even. And we started looking at how do we build something that looks at the next generation of products that are going to be the mainstays for the industry going forward. So we looked at, obviously, our partner Qualcomm and the iterations of the XR2 processor, which is why we have the most updated version of that in the XR2 Plus. And then we started looking at how we utilize different sorts of lens technologies, because one of the biggest detractors with the older generation of models, the Quest 2s, Focus 3s, and things of that nature, is the Fresnel lens, which gives you a very big box sort of structure on the front of the device, as well as a kind of a telltale issue with the concentric rings that kind of go around and build out that Fresnel lens. And that gives you a lot of visual aberration if you're not in a very perfect sweet spot. So by converting over to what are known as folded optic or pancake lenses, we've eliminated a lot of that. We've decreased the form factor on the front of the device significantly, and we've also been able to have a much better edge-to-edge clarity on the lens, which gives you a much broader sweet spot. And our lenses, we think we're going to be able to put that up against pretty much anybody in the industry, and very high resolution displays that we're utilizing in there. I quite frankly, was just testing out our latest build with about 10 minutes ago on it, and the quality is amazing. I'm extremely excited for people to be able to try this on and see just how beautiful the clarity of the device is, and how great and color rich and contrast deep the whole optical engine is. And then on top of that, you've got some of the other great new features that we're putting on there. Just the overall balanced design from the front to back. Heavy duty 6,900 milliamp hour battery in the back to give you some really long life on it. But then we also have very high resolution mixed reality full color pass-through cameras. And that's going to give you a great bit of quality of life, where we've got a button right on the bottom of the headset. You tap that at any point in time, and you can see through to the real world in full color, interact with your coworkers, grab a drink of water, check your email, check your phone. But even more importantly, it's going to allow for mixed reality pass-through experiences. And we're working very directly with Qualcomm on that through their Snapdragon Spaces program, and that's the foundation of our SDK. So you'll have very AR-like experiences that you'll be able to pull onto this, and those AR-like experiences are going to turn a lot of people into believers in some of this tech, I think, because one of the biggest detractors on an AR glass usually is that small form factor. And because this is a full field of view on a VR headset and a much deeper, richer color picture, I think we're going to make some strong believers out of it because of the mixed reality pass-through. So that's kind of the major features that we add in there, and there's a whole laundry list of other specs and things of that nature that we'll have some announcements just this week that'll give you the full rundown of all the high-end features in there. But really, when we looked at this, we recognized we have to be top of the line with most of these things if we're going to make it a expandable, versatile use for an enterprise. We have to really be hitting all those high marks, and I believe we've achieved that.
Absolutely. And one of the things I've noticed about, that excellent mixed reality pass through that, you just mentioned, that's going to be very key, especially with people who want to do enterprise solutions, especially with Autodesk VRX. That's going to allow them to kind of work simultaneously from any location. It's also going to allow people to collaborate and use more of the mixed reality features so that they can kind of make designs in real time and then be able to show that, because that actually eliminates a lot of travel that you have to work with, a lot of also costs, making clay models of different designs. Mm-hmm. And especially when it comes to maybe if someone decides to use this to design some buildings, like with the AEC industry. So I think that's going to be quite a few unique use cases that Lenovo is going to explore over the next few months, as this product is tested by a lot of different enterprises. So I'm excited to see what happens with that.
Yeah, you mentioned VRED, and for us, looking at that, that obviously, I'd kind of be remiss to mention, Lenovo obviously is a really big computer company. So this is going to work also, not just as a standalone device, but also with high-powered PCs. But you mentioned VRED. We work very heavily with our partner NVIDIA on the other side of the house, and NVIDIA has their Cloud XR solution that we're absolutely pushing with this device. And something like VRED is a fantastic use case for that. Something that has a car model that may have billions of polygons that you could only run through super high-end GPUs, being able to push that directly to an all-in-one device over Cloud XR, is another one of those areas that this device is going to prove out its versatility. So you can do your all-in-one stuff, you could do your Cloud XR based stuff, you could do your tethered things. You're going to be able to get a lot of utilization out of this with a singular device, as well as all the things you could do in pseudo AR, MR experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. And, like I said, I've seen a little bit from Vario technology side. I've also seen a little bit from, the Meta, their latest Quest Pro is going to also have it. So there's a lot more contenders in the market. And I think that's going to really help to kind of drive the technology through competition. So, great work on that. Now, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about, so we talked about some of the use cases. Now, did you see any kind of exciting figures or statistics about some of the applications for XR in the enterprise? Now, I noticed that you mentioned some of those at the IGS 2022. I think that was the one in Portugal, where you got to speak to a couple of my colleagues, including Mr. David Dungay. So that was a very nice interview, by the way. Tell us a little bit about what you believe about the enterprise. Any statistics or any particular, general ideas about what kind of things XR can do for it?
For sure. And, depending upon the individual use case, and, this is one of those things that we talk about very, very, very often. The biggest push for this stuff is definitely going to be around training. So anything that you're talking about, enterprise metaverse, we're really looking at it from the remote collaboration, getting people to work together, have those water cooler moments, have those creative collaborations. But really, it's the repetition through training, the ability to have a training device in your home, and the uptick that employees get from that, from feeling engaged with their work, from feeling more experienced with their work, and from being able to take something that they've maybe never touched in the physical world and get them up and running in a very true to life scenario. Which is why we kind of refer to this sometimes as the any job simulator. You've had flight simulators for decades. And the reason you have flight simulators is, of course, you don't put someone on day one into a very expensive, piece of machinery where lives are at stake and say, go ahead, day one, you're going to learn on this. And you could do it through traditional training modalities. You could do it through white papers and videos and things of that nature. But really having practical hands-on experience is shown to be so much more effective. And you can get people up and running at a much higher degree. And what we're seeing is that things like soft skill training, you could have up to a 4 times faster training. So something that normally would take maybe an hour could take under 15 minutes when you're doing soft skill training. And you're having a significant higher degree of confidence, close to a 300% uptick in your confidence. And these are all metrics and studies that have been done repeatedly at this point, where people feel so much more confident when they walk into a workplace that they say is familiar, even though they've never actually experienced it in the real world. They've experienced it virtually, and they say, okay, I know what I need to do. And that goes across hard skill training like manufacturing and working on things like nuclear reactors, all the way to surgery training and things of that nature, to assembling of hard goods. All of those things can be proven over and over again to show that this sort of VR training, this sort of immersive training is so much more effective. And then also significant aspect is the reduction of risk of injury in workplace. And that's a big area that we're focusing on, where you could train people how to work in safety scenarios with inside of a warehouse where they're just familiar already without ever having stepped in that facility. They know where all the egress points are. They know where all the fire extinguishers are. They know where all the safety modalities, where the eye wash is, all those things that you would want someone to know on day one that may take them many weeks or months of being on the job. They can experience that before they even step foot in that facility, and they can experience it remotely. So that's why a lot of organizations are even utilizing this stuff for onboarding and getting people just acclimated to environments before they even do come into work. Because we do recognize that the hybrid workplace is something that all organizations are learning to understand. and meet their employees where they're best and most comfortable. But there are going to be certain jobs that do always require you to walk into a physical facility. And if we can give you that ability to feel comfortable in that facility on day one, we're going to make you better at your job. We're going to make you safer, and we're going to make you just more effective overall. And the metrics have proven that out.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned a little bit something about being able to be prepared, willing, trained, so that way when you go on day one, you can meet the job, with a lot of higher skills than if you were to just go in there blindly, or if you were to go in, with a traditional training. And one of the things I like to look at is the agile workforce, is the fact that you can get these people trained, ready to go, and boost their skill set from day one, allowing them to perform much better. And right now we are experiencing a global shortage of labor, in addition to a global skill shortage, which I think that XR is going to help fill in phenomenally. Just being able to get people prepared and ready and upskilled at much faster rates to prepare them for more complex work. So yeah, excellent viewpoints on that, and I do appreciate that. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Well, we'll probably cut it short soon, but is there anything else that you'd like to say or let us know about, Lenovo's work and VRX as well?
So yeah, I think from Lenovo's perspective, we understand that we have a very strong identity, business identity with the enterprise. We have that very strong Lenovo name that we hang a lot of energy on, and we're making sure that we're positioning ourselves appropriately with that. And we also have, a reputation for the hardware that we're bringing, and we believe the ThinkReality VRX is going to be a great part of that. But we also have a full solution stack. We have the ThinkReality MDM, with a platform that we allow people to remotely manage devices with. But then we have our XRS services, which allow for enterprises to utilize our teams to help develop some of their content with their chosen ISVs or with one of the Lenovo certified ISVs. And then we have other aspects like Lenovo's device as a service financial model. So we're not only helping you solve for the actual technical solution, but we're also helping you figure out how it's going to be paid for, and helping companies get up and running quickly, and even being able to bundle all of their software and solutions together. But most importantly, we're trying to really push the idea of building towards this enterprise metaverse, but making sure that it's open. So we have a very strong identity of meeting the customer where they're at. We're not going to tell you how to develop with us. We're going to say, what are you most comfortable with? What works for your enterprise? And let's help you build around that. And we've got a full suite of services that surround that whole idea. In conjunction with that, we're bringing on board lots of different ISV partners that are going to help bring solutions that are already tried and true, and help develop new ones for these enterprise customers. So a lot of the familiar names in the ISV space, like Engage and Tailspin, Roundtable, Transfer, Uptail, many other ones that we're already working with. And we're growing that ISV list to expand to groups that may not have seen the enterprise as a focus before, but also talking to customers that said, you know what, we can't do this because we can't work with any of the partners on the market. Now that Lenovo's entering the market with this, a lot more enterprises are beginning to look at and say, okay, now we have a serious enterprise player that can come along with us. Now we need to really look at this more directly. So, I think we look at it from that holistic, open enterprise, open metaverse space. And as we're building that out, we're always looking to bring on more ISV partners and talk to more customers. So absolutely encourage folks to reach out to us and have these conversations with us. The ThinkReality VRX will be out early next year. We're going to have some early development devices later this year and the beginning of next. Those are already in extremely high demand. So we'll be looking at customers and ISV partners very specifically to choose who gets those. But we encourage everyone to reach out and to start inquiring about these devices now. So, but I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about this, and we're very excited to bring this to market.
Yeah, brilliant. Likewise, I do appreciate it, because there's a lot to unpack on that, and it's a very good. It's great. It's an excellent opportunity. I would actually say to get the chance to learn about Lenovo's technologies, especially with the ThinkReality platform and the VRX itself. Once again, my name is Cureton, Senior Journalist for XR Today. If you'd like to continue following the conversations with us, please follow the XR News hashtag, which you can do so on Twitter and LinkedIn. So once again, we're signing off. Thanks again so much for joining us, and have an excellent day, everyone. Bye now.